welcome to my 10-minute abdominal workout. I do suggest that you master the pelvic floor and TVA activation video first before moving on to this one. So lying on your hands, bring your legs up, make sure those abdominal muscles are nicely drawn in, feel that pelvic floor lifting nicely inside you. Start tapping one leg down at a time, showing nice control throughout the exercise, monitoring with the hands under the back whether or not the arch is changing. You really want to maintain just a static position. Concentrate also on the pelvic bones either side of the hips, making sure they're staying level and not wobbling from side to side. Really control nicely through the core, lifting those pelvic floor muscles, staying strong all the way through the exercise. Quick word of warning, and that's you should never feel a loading in your lower back. You should be taking all the strain in the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor muscles. If you do feel something, then make sure that you're drawing those abdominal muscles in a bit tighter, putting that pelvic floor up a bit tighter. The other reason it might be is that you're not bringing those knees in far enough on each leg movement. Let's turn around now, come up onto your hands and knees. So activating the TVA muscles and the pelvic floor muscles nice and tightly, we're going to raise up opposite arm and leg. Start with the right arm and the left leg, nice and slowly up, drawing that core in nice and tightly and slowly down, and change to the other side. Let's make sure we keep the pressure out of the lower back in this movement. Do that by drawing in the abs nice and tightly, lifting the pelvic floor muscles up. The other way of doing this is to reduce the size of the movement, so just don't extend the arm and leg quite as far out. It's quite effective even if you were to just raise an opposite arm and leg just off the floor slightly. Now turning around to a forward facing view, this will allow you to see whether or not I'm rocking from side to side, and hopefully what we can see is that actually I'm staying pretty still as I'm raising my arm and leg up, and that's one of the goals here, is you should keep the pressure on the arm and the leg fairly equal through the whole movement, and the only way to do that of course is to draw the abdominals in nice and tightly. If you've got more than 10 minutes spare, then feel free to start the video again and complete a second set. Of course, the more you do, the tighter and stronger the abdominal muscles will get. Okay, come into a side lying position. Place the elbow directly under the shoulder, feet together, knees together, and bent at 90 degrees back. Make sure your body is in line and draw the abdominals in, pelvic floor, and lift, raising the arm up nicely in line with the lower arm. This is not only a great exercise for abdominal control, but it's also working nicely the gluteal muscles, your bottom as well. Feel free to reduce the time spent in the bridge position. You might want to start off with maybe 15 seconds on each side, and then slowly increasing to 30 seconds, and maybe even get into a minute eventually. Now let's change sides. Okay, lying on your left side now. Place your arm directly under the shoulder. Make sure your body's nicely in line. Abdominals drawn in tightly, pelvic floor engaged, lifting up. Really focusing on those core muscles. Keep pushing that hip into the air. Hold as strongly as you can. you first start with this exercise, it's probably a good idea to think about doing a 15-second hold on each side, and as you start to feel that you're strengthening up, then to try and stay a little bit longer, and eventually just hold with me as long as you can. We're going to lie on our backs now, and we're going to perform some abdominal crunching. Raise both legs up so the knees are in line with the hips, or just slightly drawn in towards the chest. Raise the arms up and we're going to perform a crunch, bringing the chest closer to the knees and then slowly back down. Nice slow tempo. As you can see, I'm coming up quite high here. You may find this too difficult at the beginning, so just make sure you lower that range down. The other thing to look out for is whether or not the tension is going into the neck muscles. If it is, then you may want to either place your hands behind your head or just crunch less, so you're not going to come up quite as high. As you can see, I'm holding at the top of this exercise, and that makes it a lot harder. So when you start this routine for the first time, I suggest that you probably remove the hold and just come up and down as you feel comfortable. We're going to change to a twisting abdominal exercise now, just to work the oblique muscles. Raise both legs up. As you can see, I've taken my hands out quite wide, and that's for stability more than anything else. And we're going to slowly rotate over to one side, back to the middle, and over to the other side. Now it's important that you've got your pelvic floor and TVA muscles switched on here to give you strength and to support that lower back. Now you shouldn't feel any loading in the lower back during this exercise, but if you do, make sure you're drawing in those pelvic floor muscles nice and tightly and those TVA muscles through the spine. The other thing you might want to do is just make sure those knees are pulled a little bit more to the chest. You may also feel a little bit of loading in the hips, in the hip flexors. If you do feel that, then please reduce the amount of time at the beginning when you start doing this exercise. The oblique exercise now, what I'd like you to do is just cross one leg over the knee. This one's going to be the left, and we're going to reach over with the right hand. As you can see, I've raised that above my head. I'm going to reach across, twisting nicely, reach straight across to the other knee and beyond. At the beginning you'll find that you may not have as much movement as this, but eventually you'll build up that strength and you'll start to reach further and further. If you're starting to feel too much tension in the neck, then make sure you stop the exercise and you build up slowly, and then eventually you'll stay with me through the whole thing. Let's change sides now. Cross the right leg over the left knee. Take that left arm up and we're going to reach across to the right knee and back. Please remember that I'm not expecting you to do the whole abdominal workout on your first attempt. But remember that your body will strengthen up slowly and you'll be able to stay with me longer and longer throughout the routine. Now that's the last abdominal exercise, so you've completed the 10-minute abdominal workout, so well done. And what I thought I'd do is add in a little stretch for your abdominal muscles. So have a lie on your tummy, elbows directly under your shoulders. I'm going to tilt the chest up and arch the back nicely. You'll feel a nice stretch all the way down through the abdominal muscles, and just hold that position for a few seconds. Well done for completing the 10-minute abdominal workout. Please come back and join me again soon.